found out you were on American Idol, right? You guys are American Idol by chance right there. So, the day after you were eliminated, is it like you got working right away on doing your own stuff, or just kind of take a day off, like, okay, well, that was cool? Or well, right on the grind again?
It's crazy, because when you're on a show, you know, they make you feel like you are it. You are the star. You know, you're the next best thing, whatever. And that whole experience for me was it was kind of difficult for me to take, because we hadn't done anything, and we were these reality TV stars. And for me, I did American Idol for one reason, and that was to get a foot in the door in the music industry. Idol doesn't necessarily guarantee you that. It does guarantee you a foundation of fans. It guarantees you, you know, that spotlight and that notoriety and where you're from. And so for me, I always kept that in my mind. And people got caught up, and you can get so caught up. I was the only idol to stay in LA after we got voted off. And what happens when you get voted off, it's like, hey, you know what, thank you so much, here's your ticket, I'll see you later. Great. And it's no joke. I mean, and so for a lot of kids, you know, people go into depression. You know, there's people that don't know what to do with themselves. You know, they're you know, 20 million people know their name and know who they are in just a matter of weeks, and then they go home and they're back in their mom's basement. It doesn't make any sense. So so for me, it was important. I took up the amount of money that I had made when I was on the show. I stayed up in some motel for a while, about a month almost, until I got a call from my father who said I had some family friends in Malibu that I had no idea about. I didn't even know what Malibu was at that time. I was like, great, can I please like sleep in a regular place now? And so I went, and it ended up being this amazing house on the beach, like with a piano. It was amazing. I wrote so many songs over there. It was amazing. But right after I got voted off the show, I knew I had to work. I knew that this was the very important part of my career, and it was like, you either leave and, you know, become a afterthought, or you stay here and try to create a synergy for myself, trying to develop something that I have so far. I mean, I have a great foundation. It's a lot of work. I still am doing a lot of work right now, you know, in trying to make a name for myself. You can name, you know, top 10, you know, 100 top 10 American Idols, and you can maybe name 5 of them right off the bat. And it's because, you know, the translation to the industry isn't easy at all. And I've been fortunate enough to have such amazing people around me, like Hollywood Records, and like the people I've surrounded myself with, to put me in a great position, know what kind of lane I could take, know my strengths and my weaknesses, what I need to work on it, and what I need to be better at. So just really blessed to be here, man. It's been a lot of work. I still have a lot of work to do, but we're on the right track right now. So I'm a happy person.
How old were you when you were on the season?
I was 22 years old. I'm 23 now. I mean, for me, I was so fortunate to be raised the kind of way I was raised. Both my parents were very real with me, very honest with me, and it made me kind of grow up. I mean, not only that, but I was also in the crash and other things that led me to that moment. But I felt like I had lived enough and you know, I'm so young, but I've lived enough to know certain things and to really read things before they happen and prepare myself. You know, and I had a father who's also in the industry who always told me 2 things. It's timing and who you know that works in this business. It doesn't really mean anything else. You have to have the talent, of course, but sometimes that doesn't even matter. It's timing and who you know that really works in this business. And it's hard. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there, and you got to do everything you can to put yourself in the best position possible. And if that means working to the bone, that means working to the bone, and that's what I'm doing right now.
So, like, if I was in your position and I was an idol, I got voted off, my parents would be like, okay, your fun's over, get your ass back home. Were your parents, like, were they like, okay, you can still, are they more like, hey,
well, you know, at the time, I had been living on my own for about 3 years, and I didn't even know American Idol. I had a buddy that called me up that I did. I was a host at some karaoke contest. It sounds funny now. But no, honestly. So let me just give you a little quick rundown. After I got the negative driving ticket, which was almost exactly a year after my crash, I learned how to walk by then. I was doing everything like a normal person would, I guess. And I was just kind of stalled. I was stuck. I was a full-time student. I worked at the Men's Warehouse full-time. And I wasn't working on my goals. I wasn't working, I was just kind of floating. You know, I had worked so hard to walk again, and when I did, I was like, okay, now what? I'm gonna go back to school and go back to work. And I didn't know what to do with myself. I got the ticket and was like, all right, like I'm obviously not doing something right. So I did my first YouTube video channel literally a week after I got the ticket. I was doing all these YouTube videos. I was starting to gig around Seattle, and then I got this karaoke gig where I went in and I was the MC for it. It was stupid. But I was at this karaoke thing, and this guy came in. And he's like, yo, man, you're from Kent. And I'm like, yeah. And we were the big singers at our high schools. I was at Kentwood. This guy was at Kent Ridge. And I had never met him, heard a lot about him. And he was in the competition or whatnot. And so he was really cool. I got his number or whatever. About a week after that, he called me up. He's like, yo, have you heard about the auditions in San Francisco? And I'm like, what auditions? I don't know what you're talking about. American Idol, man. They're having auditions in San Francisco as the closest city to us. We got to go down there and do it. And I'm like, all right, man, every year, every time, the Idol auditions come around, everyone's like, oh, you got to do it. And I never do. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, and whatever. And so about 20, 30 minutes after that, I get my aunt that lives in downtown San Francisco. She called me, and she goes, when are you going to come visit your aunt? Like, you need to come see me right now. I miss you. I haven't seen you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a sign. Yeah. I have to go. I called the guy back up. I'm like, all right, we'll go. We can stay at my aunt's, but you got to pay for gas. He's like,
so now is that aunt like, hey, I basically gave you a shot. So, I would totally be like that if I was her.
I always have to call my Auntie Tina up all the time, make sure she's like, this started here. So, but yeah, and so it all stemmed from that, and so I'm here. What was the question again? I'm totally lost.
I got lost too, but it was an awesome story. Kelly, a great question actually. How many preliminary rounds did you have to go through for Idol before you actually saw the judges? I think the conception is like you get in line, then you see everybody.
No, definitely not. You watch the show and you wonder why some of these really, really bad singers think that like, what? What do you mean? It's because they go through all these stages. I believe it was 4. It was 4 stages. They go through 4 stages, right? And you keep on getting through, and you got the panel of people, same thing. All these producers, each and every round, just bigger producers as you go up. Oh yeah, you're great. Yeah, that's perfect. It's perfect. You're perfect. Okay, go on through. So they're like, oh my gosh, I'm doing it. And then they go through the next round. They're like, wow, this is really happening right now. And then the next round, they're like, I must be great. Like, there's no way. I must be killing it right now. And then they get to the judges, and they're like, what? So for me, I kind of went in each and every time. It was funny because everyone was always asking me like, yo, why are you singing the same song? And I'm like, dude, it's working. Like, singing the song that keeps on getting me through. So I sang Heard Through the Grapevine from the very start all the way to the end till I got on the first like live show, or not live show, but the first time they showed me, I sang Heard Through the Grapevine. So yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I definitely believe in that one. So about 3 or 4 stages until you get to the judges. It's this huge process. TV, there's so much goes into it, into these TV shows, and especially a show like this, which is kind of ingrained in our American society now. I mean, even the world almost. I think over 132 countries have American Idol. So I mean, it's really ingrained in our society. I mean, a person that just hears somebody singing, that's just walking across the street, their first thought, you should go try out for American Idol. It's first thought, I guarantee it. It's just how it is. It's ingrained in us. So, to be a part of it is incredible. To be a part of the best season, in my opinion, it's pretty strong. I feel like it's a strong opinion. And to be a part of what I got to see and what I got to do, I got the first season of all the new judges. It was like season 1 almost. I had these new judges. We had these amazing producers that we got to work with. We were so spoiled that no other season ever got those opportunities. So if it wasn't for those things that I got to do and learn, I was a real sponge when I was on that show. I soaked up everything that they said to me, everything that they wanted me to do, everything that they thought I should do, even things I didn't want to do. I soaked everything up and saw what worked and saw what didn't. So it's all helped me get to this point.
Between us guys here, how cool is it having J-Lo save you?
It's crazy. It's crazy because the show wants you to be perceived how they want you to be perceived, which sucks because somebody like me, like in Hollywood Week, when we go to Hollywood, there was me and a few others that we were the people to beat. We were the ones that everyone was saying, man, you are gonna go, man. I'm gonna be watching you, and to watch the show back and not see me one time. It was like, what's going on? And at the time we were watching, when we were watching it, Scotty McCree, who won the show, who was an incredible person. I love the guy. I love him. I'm serious. He's so cool. He's so humble. He's a great guy. When we were all sitting in Hollywood Week, this guy was just, it wasn't right. Like, how does he keep on getting through this? He's forgetting his lyrics. He's not knowing what he's doing up there. I mean, how does he keep on getting through? And then they show him the whole time. You know, they make you want to invest. And that's what it's all about, the voting thing. It's about investing in who you want. So when J-Lo called me hot and I was her favorite and I was the best, that was all in Hollywood Week. And they didn't show that to the very, very last time I got voted off the show. Think about that for a second.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. And the thing is that everyone had this whole thing with me and J-Lo. They only showed this much of anything that ever happened.
So what happened then?
Good, Jay. No, so it's a show. And that's one thing I needed to realize. I was happy I realized that when I was on it. It's a sitcom. It's a reality TV show, and you have to keep your head above it, because if you get sunk in, you're in there and you ain't coming out. And so I recognized my position. And if you watch back, if you saw, like when I got voted off, I was so happy. Because I knew now I can finally be free. I can be an artist for myself. I can show really what I do. I don't have people telling me what songs I gotta do. I don't have people telling me how I gotta dress or what I gotta look like. I can go out and really show people what I do and who I am as a person. And that's really what has got me here today. Those things, those little things. People know my name, that's great. But when I go into a room like this and I show people who I am and what I really do and how I really sing, that's what really wins it over. So I've been having a blast coming on these things and doing these shows, and I'm really happy I got to be in front of you guys today.
That was a great answer.
Yeah.
The thing I always thought, not necessarily was funny, but kind of awkward, is like when they do like the final two and they vote somebody off, and they say like who's voted off, everybody goes, oh. I'm kind of like, what about the other guy that gets to stay?
Dude,
like, aren't
that
you
is so messed up.
You know what I mean?
That's the other thing. I know I'm raining right now, but I was always put with the person that got voted off all the time. Casey, Pia, Paul, Jake, I mean, like all these people. And so mainly, I mean, I remember when Pia got voted off, and I'm sitting up here and I'm like, man, you know, there was actually a point where like I had two weeks where I was like, I was really doing really good. Everyone was like, oh, this is he's a really good singer, whatever. And then after that, I did Hello, which wasn't even a song that I knew. But I killed it. I know I killed it. I was like, yes. And then they were like, oh, you close your eyes and you're not connecting, which is so erroneous. Like, how does Stevie Wonder and Ray Charles and like Andre Bocelli, who are like the most amazing, perfect, it's like, okay, sorry, I wasn't like, and then after that moment, I was in the bottom every single week until I got voted off, and they were wanting me to get up. They're like, all right, come on, get up. And so I was with Pia, and at that point I was like, all right, it's either I'm going or staying. Like I'm gonna leave sooner or later. I've been here like 3 weeks in a row already. And Pia gets voted off, and I was like, no. And like the judges are like, and I'm sitting there like.
I was screaming for you at home.
You know, really?
Sorry.
You know, hey, what are you gonna do? It is kind of awkward, not gonna lie. It is kind of awkward, but you know, about the show thing. You know, I had to realize that it was a part of the machine. It was a part of what needed to be, and it didn't necessarily reflect on who I was or what I did. It just was what it was. And I had to keep on doing what I do and not be discouraged and be positive and really believe in what I can do. And that's be right here, right now. So happy for all that stuff, man.
One more question for another song. Erica from West Des Moines. Alrighty. How did you feel this season when you went back and performed on American Idol?
Oh, it was such a surreal, like, just like, man, I don't even know what it was. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys something. I wasn't supposed to be back on the show. They weren't going to let me perform on the show. A couple reasons. Number one, they hadn't had a 7th place person come back to the show since Jennifer Hudson. And when she got to come back, she didn't even come back a year after like I did. She came back, you know, after she got her Emmy and she was a huge star. She came back on the show. So it was already like, we hadn't showed them the song yet. We proposed it, and they're like, no way, no. So then we're like, okay, screw it. All right, fine. So let's keep on it. We got Billboard ratings. We getting all these things, and it's all great. Everyone's raving about the song. So we're like, okay, let's try again. We send it to them. No, we can't do it. So then my manager's like, all right, we just got like a crazy rating. The Hollywood Records just came back and was like, dude, we haven't had a song rate this high since Party in the USA. Okay, like, and that's true. We need to get this somewhere. We sent those numbers to Idol, to the big guy Craig Fox, who's up there with Simon Fuller and everybody, and they're like, oh, come on, you want to do it on the release day? Let's go, let's do it. And so it was it was great, but at the same time, I kind of want to just stick, I was like, hey, what's up? I'm back. And so I came back and I did my thing and got great reviews from it. It was a blast. And going up there and not singing under the pressure of, you got the judges judging you, you got the whole world judging you, waiting for, what you're going to do, what move you're going to make. I had worked so hard to be there, and it was just a great relief for me. You look at my last performance when I did Neil, because they were telling me I had to stop doing the slow songs and everything. I did a Come Closer, a pop tune, and I got up and moved, and I was moving around the stage and really worked the stage. From that moment to it was really important for me to show people where I've grown, how I've become an artist and a performer, a true performer. And I had all those dances that we had the whole dance break, and we had the song, and I didn't lip sync like everybody else, which doesn't, whatever, people don't even think about that. But so doing those things, it was such a great moment for me, and I loved it, man. It was amazing.